If you're watching this on the Time Travel YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We're about to walk through 10 African cultures whose stories, rituals, and preserved knowledge systems strongly suggest that ancient people understood concepts that look a lot like time travel. Not metaphorical time travel, not symbolic time travel, but ideas and practices that point to movement across timelines, communication with different eras, and the collapsing of past, present, and future into one accessible space. And as any serious historian knows, once a pattern appears in multiple unrelated cultures, something real is hiding underneath. Let's dive in. The Dogon people hold astronomical knowledge they could not have observed. When historians encounter the Dogon of Mali, one thing becomes unavoidable: their unmatched knowledge of the Sirius star system. Long before telescopes existed, they described Sirius B as a dense, invisible companion star, and even spoke of its orbit with stunning accuracy. Western astronomers only confirmed this in the 19th century. The Dogon say the information was given to them by beings they call the Nomo. But when you strip away the mythical language, what they describe resembles knowledge transmitted from another time. A practical way to apply this is by studying how oral cultures preserve information across centuries without losing accuracy. Researchers who want to test this can compare generational storytelling patterns today with scientific data to see how knowledge can jump time. The ancient Egyptians recorded cyclical timelines rather than linear history. Egyptian cosmology did not treat time as a straight line. It functioned in loops. Their concept of Nehe and Jet, cyclical time and everlasting time, mirrors modern theories of temporal physics that discuss the coexistence of flowing and static timelines. Their rituals for rebirth were not symbolic, but structured around re-entering earlier states of existence. If you want to apply this to research, study the Egyptian king lists and compare them with abnormal chronological resets in their texts. Some pharaohs appear, disappear, and reappear in ways that match cyclical timekeeping rather than simple human error. The Zulu people preserve accounts of beings who move between worlds and eras. Zulu oral tradition speaks of the Amadlozi, ancestral figures who communicate with the living in ways that collapse time completely. In their worldview, the future is not up ahead, but exists simultaneously with the present, accessible through trained intermediaries. What makes this relevant to time travel discussions is the practical method the Zulu use: rhythmic induction through dance and controlled trance. Anyone studying altered states of consciousness and temporal perception can use these steps as a baseline to understand how non-linear time may be accessed through human biology. The Akan calendar tracks time through spiritual recurrence instead of, fixed dates. The Akan of Ghana measure time through cycles of life forces rather than numbered days. Events repeat in patterns, and individuals are believed to be reborn versions of ancestors, sometimes carrying the same unfinished tasks. This suggests an ancient model of reincarnation functioning like a return loop, which is, honestly, kind of comparable to modern time loop theories. To test this, anthropologists often trace naming customs, where newborns are given titles that correspond to ancestors with documented traits. It becomes a living experiment in cyclical identity. The Berbers maintain rituals tied to star positions that shift across centuries. In North Africa, Berber communities preserve ceremonial calendars linked to constellations that no longer align with the seasons the way they did thousands of years ago. Yet the rituals remain precisely timed. This suggests that the knowledge originated in a different astronomical age. Researchers use this by calculating precession, the slow wobble of Earth's axis, to identify the era the rituals match most accurately. It becomes a practical tool for discovering whether a culture's knowledge comes from their own time, or perhaps another. The Yoruba concept of Orun and Aiye breaks the boundary between past and future. In Yoruba cosmology, Orun is the unseen world where ancestors and future souls exist. Aiye is the physical world. Movement between these realms is constant. The key detail is that diviners who access Ifa do not just predict, they reference events that already happened in Orun, but have not unfolded yet in Aiye. This looks very close to accessing a timeline before it manifests. If you want to apply this, study Ifa verses. Some contain events that can be mapped to historical occurrences long after the verse's origin, making them a real-world archive of pre-manifested information. The Himba use memory palaces that bend time through place-based recall. The Himba of Namibia have an extraordinary mental mapping system that allows them to reconstruct past landscapes with precision. Because memory is tied to location rather than date, they navigate history spatially rather than temporally. This method, resembles the cognitive basis of theoretical time travel models that use spatial anchors as temporal markers. Anyone can apply this by building a memory palace that stores historical events in different parts of a familiar environment. Testing whether spatial recall gives you a stronger sense of moving through time. The sand trackers read footprints like timestamps from another era. San hunter-gatherers possess such refined tracking skills that they reconstruct past events as though watching them happen in real time. Scientists studying them describe the process as a rewinding of time. What makes it extraordinary is their ability to infer micro-events, blink-level details, that modern observers miss entirely. This shows that time perception can be expanded through training. To apply this, observe an environment and record microchanges over hours or days until patterns emerge. You are basically learning to read the past in the present. The Igbo treat memory as an active force that influences future events. Igbo metaphysics teaches that remembering an event strengthens its path forward and forgetting weakens its existence in the timeline. This resembles the observer effect in quantum physics, where attention affects outcomes. Igbo rituals around remembrance function like a temporal stabilizing mechanism. Practically, you can test this by keeping a detailed ancestral journal and tracking how certain family traits or events recur across generations. The Maasai use age-set systems that collapse time between generations. The Maasai do not define adulthood, elderhood or warrior status by age. Instead, they use age-set cohorts that move through life stages together. This creates overlapping generational identities that make time feel simultaneous rather than sequential. It's a social model that mirrors temporal layering. Anthropologists use this to analyze how societies can exist in multiple times at once by assigning roles outside linear aging. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more historically grounded explorations into time travel, make sure you subscribe, like and share this guide so it reaches others who love history as much as you do.